Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the White Pew podcast. My name is Gabrielle Della Puente.
My name's Serena Mohammed.
And we are here to do a quick ins and outs. I mean, it's not quick. A podcast about our ins and outs for 2024 and 2023. If you're not familiar, there's been a bit of a trend of people, like, rather than just saying like some perfectly succinct New Year's resolution, they're just saying like some things that they want to do more of this year and some things that they want to like leave in 2023. And that's what we're going to do, because we haven't written a new text this week because we've got to do our taxes. So we're doing this quickly instead. And then we'll be back next week with our first review of the year. So on that note, what are you in and out in? Where are you starting with this?
My list is unwieldy and comprehensive. I have gone for, some of them are really serious, some of them are just arbitrary. So I'm going to start with one I'm actually really proud of that's I've already kicked out. I've quit.
Oh, go on.
No more Elf bars. Elf bars are out. We're done. They're disposable. Imagine how many Elf bars are going to be sitting in landfill. They also make my mouth taste weird. I don't know if anyone else also vapes, but like I
So grim.
like they're just they're not selling me like the fun, fruity, flirty marketing vision. Like I don't know if any of our listeners or viewers or readers also isn't it? Like, if you're also an Elf bar person, please write in and tell me, do they make your mouth taste weird, or is it just me? Am I just doing it wrong? Because I found that like my mouth just used to taste like Mad Blue.
Is this like when you tried to do natural deodorant and it just didn't work?
Gabrielle, you
we had
know
to like
good and
have a
well that
serious
was like
conversation.
3 years of my life that I was like into natural deodorant.
And thank God we pulled you out of it. Like, no offense to people who it works for, but it didn't work for Serena.
And it like I feel like it made me smell. It made me smell. It did. Because I can go a day forgetting to put on deodorant, but like natural
So
deodorant made me smell.
what are you doing instead of Elf bars?
Snooze.
Snooze.
Snooze. I will tell you what snooze is because you've not asked, but just because I'm now
Go on.
in the pocket of big snooze. Snooze, it's a Scandinavian thing. I think Swedish or Scandinavian thing. It's like a little pocket, a little pouch, and you put it in between your gum and your lip, and it just sits there. And you can do it indoors. You can do it wherever you like. You can do it on the toilet. You can do it on a plane. That's enough for me. But, and I'm saying this like kind of off list. I don't want to add this to the in and out list because this is too New Year's resolution-y. We're going to be 30 this year.
We are going to be 30 this year?
Apparently, your lungs stop having the ability to regenerate themselves past 30.
Stop.
I don't know if this is like urban legend, but like smokers who quit before 30, their lungs can like grow back.
Oh my God.
After 30, it's downhill.
Are you going to quit smoking this year?
I think halfway through this year, I have to quit smoking.
Oh my God. On a technicality.
On a
Oh shit.
That's the most New Year's resolution. New Year's resolution-y these actually get. I quite like taking things out. Like my out list is really extensive. I like taking things out of my life. For example, buying new clothes. No more new clothes.
This is big. Don't you just feel like buying new clothes is cringe?
Cringe. Cringe is the word for it, but like also demoralizing when you get the little parcel in the post and it's all wrapped in plastic and you're excited to try on your new clothes. I just hate the way that makes me feel. Vulnerable.
Why?
I just feel
Why?
vulnerable in that moment
Tell
of
me
like
why though.
excitement for like it's just like oh like I just feel like I feel like I'm being patronized by myself and also by like big ASOS, you know.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that feeling.
The warehouse overlords have sent me a parcel and it's plastic wrapped and I'm so excited even though I've given them my little tokens, my little money tokens, you know, just like it's too much.
Like it's a bit it's like pacifying or something. Like, yeah, that makes sense. For me, the cringe is like how much cooler it is to be able to make your own stuff. Like, I watch all these YouTubers, I watch With Wendy, I watch Jenna Phipps, like
Mm.
all these cool people who can like mock something up on a dress form, which is like, you know, those mannequin things, and like they just drape things around it, and then they pin it, and then they put it through a sewing machine, and then they wear it. And I'm like, oh my god, I want to be you. I actually got a dress form for Christmas. That was like the only present I got. I'm so committed to this also, and like not even necessarily having to go out and like do some sewing course. Like, I just want to do the school of YouTube. I want to pull shit from my wardrobe, lay it out, draw around it so that I can repeat the pattern and like find what fits and what feels comfortable. And like, yeah,
This makes complete sense with who you are as a person because you are a survivalist.
exactly. I'm like it's like the teach the person to fish thing. Just teach me how to fish. Just teach me how to fish. But like, I'm never stepping foot in a H&M again. Fuck all those places. I don't remember the last time I was in a clothes shop. And like,
Mm.
the thought of it is something I don't miss. I watched an episode of Big Mouth, whatever the last season of Big Mouth, there was an episode where it kind of focused on the character who's autism coded, and there's an moment when he's walking into a shopping mall, and he says like, "Oh, the shopping mall is where everyone goes to dress like each other," or like this idea that that's where you go to buy your costume so that you fit in with the rest of society, and like that's how he understands it from his very specific perspective. But I was watching that and I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be replicable, and I don't want to replicate other people. And I
Yeah.
don't know necessarily what my, you know, the niche is, but it's not going to be found in the shops.
Yeah, you're more likely to figure it out by making clothes yourself, aren't you?
Yeah.
I think it's worth us using the space on the podcast to say that fashion is one of the most polluting industries in the entire world. Can you imagine that? Like, fashion is like up there with oil and gas. Like, that's fucking crazy. But like, it takes so much water and like so much available land space that could be used for better things than like making a pair of shit jeans that you're going to throw away after a season if you're lucky and you're really looking to get some wear out of them. Like, we could literally feed the world with all the space that is used to grow terrible slogan t-shirts. I think it's there's something about the industrial scale of fashion and like fast fashion, like brand new fashion that just like the scale of that makes me feel woozy and ill. And
Okay,
it's also uncool.
I've got follow-ups to this. My other in is like 100%ing my wardrobe. I want to make sure I wear everything in it. So for the next however long it's going to take, I'm going to wear a different combination of items every day, even if I don't leave the house, just to like feel it on my body and like to see whether it's something that I want to continue to own or whether I want to donate it. And also just to like have a sense of variety and have fun trying to like style pieces. It's like, you know, I remember a few years ago there being this really big push when beauty YouTube was massive to like want to buy all these different palettes and like lipsticks and blushes, and like this feeling that you needed to own all of the things rather than have one eyeshadow palette and make sure you use every single color on it and hit pan on all of them. I want to like
Mm.
hit pan on my life. I don't want to be someone who has things and doesn't use them. And
Yeah.
like, I've actually found this like real danger with getting into knitting, where like I keep getting recommended all these YouTube videos by people who are like yarn stash tour. Like, they want to just take you
Mm.
through their shelves and shelves and shelves, and how like, here's how I organized my DK yarns and my merino and my blah blah blah. And I'm like, good for you that you look like you have a fucking shop in your house, but like, wouldn't it be better to use it? and
Yeah.
like make stuff with it and like get to a point where you have 100% used it all
Mm.
rather than like just accumulating stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. Every time I hear someone else say this, I'm like, wow, fuck off. Because it's so easy to say when you're like a person that's got the stuff and then like moralizing about all the stuff that you don't want to have, but you have anyway. But like so much of that is hot, like that's like the industrial process. Like, how do you get away from that without making your own clothes? Like, how do you make well-made clothes when they just come from factories now? It's I hate it. I hate moralizing about that when it's like, the alternative is deeply inconvenient. But having said that, there is kind of like I don't know, if it's learned, it must be unlearnable. Like in
Yeah.
collecting yarns, collecting eyeshadow palettes, collecting clothes and like bits and bobs and like just
I think it's
the
fine to
completionism.
moralize on that part of it. Like,
Mm.
I think it is absolutely fine to judge someone on how much they accumulate just to be like, I'm the king, sat on all of my treasure. I just don't want to have a house full of shit. I want to like, for example, I'm halfway through making the Jasper jumper, which is like a scrap yarn jumper. So it's like a case of just tying together all of your different bits and bobs that you've got lying around that felt like, pieces of yarn that felt maybe too long to throw out, but not long enough to use.
Mm.
I just feel like, whew, like a sense of relief
Mm.
that um I'm not letting things go to waste.
Gabrielle, you're literally tying up loose ends, literally.
I am tight. Oh my god, that's so true. I love that. Another in is like I want to learn Spanish again, properly,
You tell me about this because I've got one that corresponds.
because I just really miss it, like deeply miss it, and there's enough in my brain to understand quite a lot already. But
Mm.
like I've always lacked the confidence to speak. Like if I could sit down and try and read a book and I'll be like, okay,
Mhm.
that is impaired quite a lot by chronic fatigue. I feel like I have an actual timer in my brain when I start trying to read Spanish now. Like there's like 30 minutes in me and then I'm dead. So
It's just
that's kind
taking up too
of
much brain juice.
it's crazy how palpable it is.
Oh.
But I want to try and find a way to learn Spanish accessibly.
Mhm.
And I was trying to think like, maybe if there was a few languages that I would want to learn, it would be like Spanish, Japanese, which I did a GCSE in, and then maybe something like Arabic. Like it'd be so cool to learn Arabic. Serena's face. It's like it sounds so nice. Um,
Hmm.
but if I had to pick one of them, I think like ultimately I would like to try and get to Chile one day if my
Hmm.
health ever improves, and then try and find my people. Like my dad is Chilean, but I don't have a relationship with him. And like
Hmm.
when I've done 23andMe, my, percentage of Chilean is obviously really big, and it like pinpoints exactly where
Oh,
my
really?
family's from. Yeah, it in Santiago. Like it has enough data to be able to tell you the city, which is the capital to be fair. But I just want to go and see if there's anyone I know.
Or make friends if
um
you don't. Like,
and make friends, find out about the art scene. Like it was, I've met a few Chilean painters last year, and it was like,
mm.
I don't know, it's that like part of diaspora discourse that like I never really think about because I just don't necessarily think of myself in that way
Hmm.
because like I don't have a relationship with the Chilean side of me. But it would be nice to suss it out a bit more. Yeah, and I was speaking to a friend about it who's also got long COVID, and I was talking to her about like how like I want to do it, but I just feel like physically I can't. And she was so encouraging, and she was kind of talking about like, well, think about how it's gonna, I don't know, like make new connections in your brain, just like learning a new thing, like picking up new
Yeah.
vocab, and like that visual of like making all these little new connections in your brain felt so
Mm.
exciting to me. In the same way that it does when I think, oh, I'm gonna learn how to sew and I'm gonna learn how to do like bias tape and I don't know,
Yeah.
all the
You're
all those
gaining
words.
skills. Like
gaining skills
thinking
like
about it as
that
skilling
feels
up and XP, adding it to your
XP. Feel if I
yeah.
think about life as a game, all of it seems like way more fun and way more manageable, and like less about, I don't know, I don't feel joy in trying to climb the career ladder and making more money and
Hmm.
blah blah blah. Like I find joy in adding new skills, and like that was one of the greatest things about learning to knit last year is like
Yeah.
I know enough about knitting now to be able to riff on patterns when I'm making them.
Hmm.
And last
That's
night, get this.
competency. Like that's competency.
Last night I was watching a film. Um I was watching Ennis Man, which
Hmm.
like I didn't really enjoy. But
Hmm.
visually I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy the story. Visually it's shot on film, so the colors are
Gorgeous.
kind
Yeah.
of incredible, and like I thought I want to see this film more than I want to listen to it. And I was knitting as I was watching. So I ended up I was like, okay, I'm gonna figure out right now here on the spot how to knit without looking. And I did it. And I was just it was just a case of like moving where my thumb was. But like
And feeling it.
that
Like,
skill and feeling it with my
yeah.
thumb, oh my god, I like was ecstatic.
Did you just feel really cool? Like, did it just feel
I
sick?
felt so cool. I was like, I felt like, yeah, like I'd leveled up in that moment, and I'd chosen to level up. It was like in a game when you realize,
Hmm.
like, oh, I've got enough points to cash in. Like, I can level up if I
You
want.
did the
And
little,
I
you
did
pressed the
it.
button and it
And it went,
fizzled.
yeah, yeah. And I did it.
That's an amazing moment. Skills, leveling up.
Skills.
Yeah,
Are you going to learn
these are,
Arabic? Why did you make a face?
yeah, because that's on my list to, well, I think I spend a lot of time smoking and scrolling Twitter on my phone, and I just want to, I feel like I'm wasting my own time.
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
I'm not getting anything out of that. So rather than scrolling mindlessly on my phone, I'm gonna use the time to Duolingo Arabic myself. And I say this knowing full well that I haven't soft launched my boyfriend yet. Whatever, fine. But who cares? Like it's just like
Can you
it's
speak Arabic?
no.
I was going
But
to say.
I want to convince him. There's very little convincing that needs to be done. We're gonna learn Arabic together, and then we will have a language to speak in together that's not commonly spoken among like the great British public in like East London, the parts of East London that we frequent. Because we can't choose like French, Spanish, Italian because the hipsters speak those, you know? Arabic. They don't speak Arabic. We can learn Arabic and talk about them in secret.
I don't want to do the Duolingo thing. I want to find like a physical group because, like, I mean, we've written about this on the website a bit, but in case people haven't been reading, um, my brain has kind of been transformed by learning about third places. So this idea that like your home is your first place, your workplace is your second place, and for older generations there was in existence a third place where they would like socialize and find like nourishment in things that didn't involve being in the home or the workplace. And part of that meant coming into contact with people that they might not necessarily be friends with, but like they're in community with, and how
Hmm.
like being in being exposed to those people who, yeah, you might not necessarily like be best mates with, but their ideas and their conversations and their like way of living um like gives you a newness and a variety and like a greater understanding of like how people live and how people approach things and politics and all the
Yeah.
rest of it. um it kind of breaks outside of confirmation bias and all the rest of it. Like that, learning about that has like so deeply bummed me out because I
Hmm.
want it and I miss, like, I think I used to get that from traveling, especially with you, to like
Hmm.
all these different galleries, and like we would just like put ourselves in lots of situations with people who,
Yeah.
yeah, we might not necessarily be mates with, but we were learning a lot by um moving outside of like our own routines.
Hmm.
And like post 2020, my and post getting sick, my workplace and my home, as they did for many people, became one overlapping place.
Hmm.
And then that's just continued for me because of long COVID. And like when I've got energy, I want to just use it on getting to the third place. But I think like, what if that third place was also a Spanish group full of like
Well,
random people in Liverpool?
but that's kind of how it's really easy to pick up a language when you're speaking it aloud to a person, another person that speaks the same language. Like it's really hard to learn a language in isolation, like with just like, like the written thing. You can have friends that you only speak to in Spanish, Spanish only friends.
And then I can read Spanish art reviews and I can get in on what's going on in the Spanish speaking art world.
You
Oh
can
my
write
God.
Spanish art reviews for our
I can write Spanish art reviews.
the
Oh my
White Pube's going to
God.
be bilingual, trilingual
Oh
when
my
we
God.
collectively learn Arabic.
um, can I also just pick up on one thing that you said?
Oh
So
yeah.
when you said like you just feel like you're wasting your life going on Twitter, Twitter is
Yeah.
my first out. I have deleted my personal Twitter account.
Oh my
Um,
God, you've deleted.
which was like very quickly. I don't even know if I don't want to use the word influenced. I was just convinced when I heard this one sentence said to me.
Oh God, you're going to say it to me and convince me.
Yeah,
Let's
I'm
see.
gonna convince
Come
you, and I'm gonna convince everyone who's listening. So
on.
I listened to Search Engine, which is a podcast, and they did an episode where the guy who runs that podcast was interviewing Ezra Klein, and Ezra Klein, who's got a lot of history in tech, basically said, "Your life is the sum total of what you pay attention to." That made me feel ill. And then he said,
Mm.
like, he described how he wants to pay more attention to how he pays attention and like where
Mm.
that attention is best spent. And basically it made me realize that like when I go on Twitter and when I watch short form video content, it goes in one ear and out the other. I literally don't remember any of it. I have watched
Mm.
hours of YouTube shorts. I don't have TikTok, but I've watched enough YouTube and enough
It's a
Instagram
trickle
reels
thing,
to
yeah.
know that I don't remember a fucking single one of them. And like the fact that I am spending my life watching
Mm.
things that like don't make any impression on me, like I don't like that at all. And
It's the same
I'm
feeling as
done.
like the baby being pacified by the warehouse overlords. It's like the same
Yeah,
pacifying effect.
I
Mm.
don't want that.
Done with that. That's out. That feeling, warehouse overlord pacifying you, infant tyrant, gone. Out.
It's gone. I
Yeah,
don't want it.
not
I don't want
done.
to like
Mm.
fill my life with these really empty bullshit moments. Like even if sometimes I think it's gonna feel like a relief, I
Mm.
actually think it might be more of a relief to stare into space. Like I don't trust Twitter to add anything to my life. I think it would be better and in a sense more mindful to
Mm.
fucking stare into space.
Do you know what? You're just actually too persuasive. Like it's word to the wise, like never go shopping with Gabrielle because like it's just like you convince me all the time of things that I have no opinion on. Like I had a kind of complicit opinion to begin with, but now I really do believe that tomorrow morning when I have my first cigarette of the day in the dark,
You're gonna stare into space.
I'm gonna stare into space. I
Because
mean that I should
also
it's
this was the other part of his like thesis.
hmm,
It was that we become more like the platforms we use. So
hmm,
essentially, if we're going on, say you're like a Twitter person, and you are like fucking into it, he was basically saying that like you end up becoming someone who goes around life like looking for an argument, or someone
oh,
who goes around life trying to say really snappy like bumper
yeah,
sticker type things
yeah,
because like you're trying to reduce complex thoughts into like quick little snappy things that you would get likes on.
yeah.
And if you're an Instagram person, you go around life in a visual sense, because you're like, what would be a good place to take a photo, or
Yeah.
where could I look best?
You're looking
And
for like a
like
handsome image in everything you see.
in
Yeah.
everything, you want to be in handsome
Mm.
places. You want to be like, you want to travel
Mm.
to like, you know,
Yeah.
like,
It just gets absorbed
and
into your
that,
value system, right? Because that's what you're
and yeah,
looking
yeah, yeah,
at.
yeah,
Yeah.
your behavior patterns, like all of it. And that doesn't even sound like a stretch to me. That
Mm.
sounds completely realistic. To
Yeah.
If you're using this like certain system every day, of course you're gonna like start to adapt to that system.
Yeah.
I don't want that. And in the podcast, Ezra Klein was like prompting the listener, like, if that's true, what platforms do you even want to be like? Like, which ones do you want to use? I don't want to be like Twitter. I don't
Mm.
mind being on the more visual side of things, even though I've got so many problems with Instagram, because like ultimately I think I do care more about art than I do
Yeah.
about arguments.
I
So fuck Twitter. I'm
I
done.
think
I'm so done with it.
I think we've said this year on year that like that way of reasoning and interacting with the world. I think we've known between us as people that like Twitter is
Mm.
a busted place to exist. Like even professionally, we've not got much actual value from. Should we delete the white pube Twitter?
Well, this is what this. I've been meaning to have this conversation with you, but like, it's
Because I
so
don't go on it.
difficult. You don't go on it. I go on it occasionally. I feel like it's an obligation because
Mm.
we have a book deal, and like, how mad would our publisher be if we were like, oh, by the way, we don't have Twitter anymore?
Yeah.
But
Oh,
how worth it is it to have that app all year, and then to tell people in October, oh, by the way, we've got a book, and get like 30 likes? Like, actually, who gives a shit? Like, I don't.
Twitter is a place where like authors go to hustle as well. Like
It
it's not like
is.
people are not. I mean, people are selling books on Instagram, but like
I know.
you know,
There is
there's
a
a
book presence on Twitter, and at
it,
the same time, I'm like, I hope it doesn't even exist come autumn. I hope the app is gone.
I will say though, do you remember the White Pube Twitter is archived on the British Library, in the British Library,
Yeah, that's terrible,
online.
isn't it?
Like
That's
it's
like
like
actually terrible.
the White Pube website and the White Pube Twitter, not Instagram. Isn't that
God,
interesting?
it is interesting. But yeah, that is my like horrible feeling. I'm done
I
with it. So
I agree.
and
I'm getting
I've made peace with it.
so like collectively out Twitter,
Twitter
X.
and
I,
short form
I
content.
refuse to.
I'm not allowed to watch any anymore. I've banned myself.
I'm not gonna put TikTok in out this year. I'm saying this knowing full well that I might call it out next year or the year after that. But I just think there's only so much you can
Well,
out of your life.
but if you take those
Some
things
joy.
out, this is what I've put back in.
Okay.
Audiobooks.
Oh, I love
Book
an audio book. Yeah.
Books are great, but
Yeah.
like to have audiobooks specifically coming from my phone, so that like
Mm,
I've diverted that feeling of like I want entertainment from this device. I have I'm listening to Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow at the moment by
mm,
Gabrielle Zevin, and like it just feels right. Even if it's like 5 minutes while I'm making my breakfast in the morning and it's just a quick 5 minutes.
yeah.
Oh, perfect.
This makes sense as well with like what you've said before, because I often find I'm like I like listening to podcasts, and I like listening to podcasts while I'm doing other things like having doing the house clean, or like I don't know, washing my face in the morning. Um, but I often find myself scrolling Twitter when I need something to look at. But
Exactly.
you don't need to look at things
You
because you can
don't
look
need
at
to
your
look at
knitting.
things. Yeah, perfect.
Well, you don't
Oh,
need to look at your knitting. You
space.
can do it with your eyes closed, but you can just close your eyes, listen, and then feel with your hands. Plus,
Yeah. I
thought
just I've just got this feeling that like in 30 years, we're gonna look back at this time and be like, what the fuck were we doing? Like, trying
Oh
to
yeah.
fill every moment with screens. And
Yeah.
I'm like the most guilty of doing that as I look in front of my dual screen setup and I've got my phone and me, like, you know what I mean? A
Yeah.
million windows. And
Mm.
I, I love it. But what I'm realizing is like, I had a love for the internet when I was 12, where I was like giddy with excitement to go on the internet. And like, I don't feel that
That's
giddiness
special.
anymore.
Yeah. You want to pare back your use so it feels special again. I understand that.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
and also find what else makes me feel that specialness.
Mm.
Like, if it's okay, look at this cardigan I've knitted from beginning to end, and do you like the buttons I've chosen? Like, that has been a real giddiness.
Mm.
And just also spending time in haberdasheries.
Yeah.
Like, the fucking best place in the world. And like, starting like when I was thinking about learning Spanish again, like reading, like the labels on things, and there's always like in this
Oh
country
yeah,
anyway, like
yeah.
there's the English version, there's the Spanish, the French, the Italian. Like, starting to read the Spanish bits out loud just to myself, and like enjoying the way Spanish sounds coming out of my mouth.
These are all
It's so
interconnected, these
nice.
ins and outs. Like we've
They do, yeah. They feel
like this is
connected.
great. We're really telling a complete narrative with this. Like I'm a big fan. I'm very here for this version of Gabrielle that's like screenless, but also joyful. Because that giddiness is so,
Yeah.
I don't know, that's something that does feel like it's missing a lot in life, like leisure time and like excitement. The excitement that comes with like not being at work, like being fully in something that you're like fully enjoying. Like that's
Mm,
a kind of passion that I don't know, it's very missing under like capitalism.
yeah. Go on, give me quick fire run through the rest of your ins and outs.
Okay, okay. Getting earwax scooped out of my ears. Checking the weather forecast. This is all in, by the way. Roast dinners, weird key rings, jam, Caesar salad, lime bikes, iced coffee, and yeah, Vinted. Like finding a bargain on Vinted. I think I'm not quite
Perfect.
done with the novelty of that, of being like, oh my God, yeah, I'm really lucky. I've got an eye, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I keep finding bargains. I love it.
Good.
The thrill. It is a rush, but like it's a rush I don't get from shopping. Like,
Can I tell you my one find on Vinted that like I actually can't get over?
yeah.
Um, so do you know Larika Matoshi? Have I showed you this?
Are you messing?
So
No, go
so
on.
I typed her name in just for a laugh. Just for a laugh. Because I was like, there's no way.
Oh
She's
my
like
God.
a fucking cool designer.
Yeah.
And also, like, I'm like, my body is. I just never thought that she would even make things in my size because of, fashion.
Hmm.
Let alone was it beyond Vinted. And then I typed her name into Vinted, and there was like two items. There was a dress, and it was like one of the big kind of puffy dresses that she's known for.
Hmm.
And then there was one knitted jumper in a size 18. And I was like, what the fuck? And I think it was like £75, but I offered 40, and the guy counted 50, and I said
Yeah.
yeah. And it is so good. Right, I'm
Are you
gonna
gonna
show
whip it
it. If
out?
you're watching the video version, then I'm so happy for you.
If
Um,
you're listening to the audio, shall I
and
do an
if you're,
audio description of the jumper?
you can do an audio description, and it's got a
Okay.
t-shirt underneath, but that's part of the effect.
Gabrielle is holding up like not navy blue. This is like a blue, like a
It is.
cyan blue on
It is.
screen.
No, it's not cyan. It's like, um, what
Hyperlink
color?
blue.
It's like ultra hyperlink blue. That's the color.
Hmm. Hyperlink blue jumper. It's knitted and it like pinches into like a weird knit vortex cutout shape of a crescent moon.
And
And
the
there's
moon is like a hole. There's a
yeah, there's a hole.
what the fuck? And it's got the sleeves are so long. It's got thumb holes in the sleeves. and it's got like a merino fluffiness to it.
That's gorgeous. I was too busy describing it to appreciate it. That's
It's so
beautiful.
good.
That's a
Oh my
beautiful
god.
jumper.
Go on, quick fire outs
Um,
if you've got
quick
them.
fire out. Yes, I have. Snoozing my alarm, claw clips, bun headaches, period poos, tote bags, Adidas Sambas, and Salomons.
Claw clips is such a good one. I'm so sick of them.
I hate claw clipping. It's become like my go-to lazy hairstyle, and I'm fucking done
Yeah.
with it. Plats, two plats. I'm gonna become a two plat girl. You're gonna see me looking like Pippi Longstockings, 2024.
I'm becoming a two bun girl because like
Yeah.
as soon as I do it, it makes me feel good. So
My issue is like
yeah.
I get because bun headaches, as you all note,
Mm.
is on my out list. I get really bad bun headaches from like
I
one
do, but I
bun.
just put up with them.
Two. They're on my out list. I'm not dealing with it. And like this, it's just the minor bodily inconvenience of like getting a headache because your hair like the minor bodily inconvenience is like the big overriding theme
Yeah,
in
yeah,
like the
yeah.
majority of this quick fire out list. Period poos. Hate them. Hate them because I feel like I'm shitting against my will. No more.
Yeah, but how are you gonna stop
I'm just over it. I'm just over it.
that?
I'm just going to declare myself over it and then it's done.
And then
Um,
hope it doesn't happen again.
yeah, tote bags, the minor bodily inconvenience of like a little strap
Mm,
sliding down my shoulder. Fuck off. Done.
fuck that.
Get in the
Yeah.
bin. We're gone. And then also I forgot to mention this one, eczema. Out.
I
Ec-
love this like will, this like body will to change how you work physiologically.
I'm gonna manifest it. I'm simply choosing to transcend. I declare it out, therefore. Eczema generally, but specifically my neck eczema. Nexema. Done.
Nextma.
Nexema.
That's
Out. I'm
really
over it.
funny.
I declare
It's so
myself
funny.
healed.
Speaking of sickness, very quickly, I one of my outs, which is a bit more abstract, is like losing track of time. Because I spend so much time inside and a lot of time in bed, I am very familiar with crip time. It's just like the surrealism of like not the fuck, like never knowing what happened when, and like I
Yeah.
am sick to death of people saying to me, "Oh, Gab, that only happened 2 weeks ago," but for me it feels like 3 months ago or whatever the
Mm.
case is. I don't want that to happen anymore. So like what I'm trying to do to counter it is on Notion, I found a template for a habit tracker. So
Uh-huh.
I'm just keeping track of like not necessarily because I want to try and create good habits or lose bad habits. I just want to know what my habits are so I can see what I did when.
Mm.
Less like I don't want a detailed diary. I just want some data. And like I
Yes.
think that'll help me ground in time.
I, do you know what? I fucking love that because unlike my Nexema out, where I'm just declaring we're done, it culturally
Hmm.
done. You've broken this down into like a tangible step you can take. Data.
Exactly. Data. And one thing I'm really happy with about 2023 is I downloaded the 1 second every day app and like just took 1 second of video every day. And
I
it
do it
meant
again.
that come, 31st of December, I could export a 6 minute long video and see my entire year. And even if a lot of it was just me in bed, there were some
Mm.
really good bits. And it meant that I could like have a general sense of when things happened, which like I'm sure other people are very
Mm.
good at, but I've lost the skill.
Are you going to do a second a day again for 2024? Or was that
I've
just a one
started it
year off?
already. I've started. It's happening. It's just like
Love it.
ingrained into me now. I have like an
Hmm.
alarm set for like 3 p.m. ish, and I just have it going. I should
This
take
is,
today's second live on the video actually.
shall I
One sec.
flash?
You should.
No.
No, don't flash. You just have. Okay, perfect. Thank you. I really recommend other people download it. The ads are a bit annoying, and they've gotten more annoying as I got close to the end of the year. Which
Mm.
I am really resentful of because
You have
I
to
haven't got
watch
any
the
fucking
ad to
time for
take the
ads.
clip,
No, no, no.
but then you can add that to the out list. Ads.
Ads are out. Ads have been out for maybe a while. I actually don't have the stomach for them anymore. Like, growing up on the internet and like living through Put Locker and all of the
Mm,
other bullshit, like
yeah.
we had to get used to having our time taken away from us with adverts. No more.
Just before like we broke for Christmas, I was speaking to a friend of mine in the office about we were talking about like screen time, like the screen time
Mm.
breakdown on like our phones. And the second week of December, I spent 13 hours a week on Twitter.
That's actually too much time.
That's an entire day, a waking day.
That's a waking day on
And like
Twitter.
since
Do you
it's
remember
like
anything from that week?
no, that was me
You need to
consciously
delete
cutting back.
Twitter.
I need to delete it. But like
I'm judging you.
I
You need
I
to
was
delete
judging me.
it.
This was like the beginning of that was the beginning. I mentioned this to be like to make the point about ads because imagine if Screen
Mm.
Time tracked the amount of time you had spent looking at an ad, not just on your phone, but like on your laptop,
Yeah.
on telly. I think we would feel disgusted because
Do you know
it's
what's in? Do
non-consensual.
you know what's
What?
in?
What?
Pirating. What's out?
Pirating has never been out, quite frankly.
Subscriptions. All subscriptions out in pirating.
And I would like to watch more films. Film clubs are in.
Oh my god, this is what I've been waiting to talk about. Okay, films are in this year for me as well.
I've just decided to lean in. I've got Mubi. Better than Netflix, I think. I don't pay for
Yeah,
Netflix anymore. No more
yeah,
Netflix.
yeah.
This is
Fuck it
my
all.
only streaming service, Mubi. We're going higher brow. I want to watch good
I
films.
am. I'm going higher brow than that. This is this is my announcement. Is
Love it. Yeah.
I have gotten into musicals, not post millennium musicals. I'm talking 1950s. I'm in love with Gene Kelly. Have you seen anything he's been in before? So me and my boyfriend, I was talking to him about in and outs and this like trend everyone's doing, and he was saying his out is menu screens and like having to
Hmm.
decide what to pick. He was like, I don't want to waste my time going through all of these menu screens on all these different apps because like it's just infuriating. And I agree. I never ever ever feel like browsing Netflix because like
Hmm.
the mechanism as you go through and the way it flashes up and it starts
Yeah.
playing like the trailer and it flashes like irritates me so much.
Hmm.
So we were like, do you know what? Let's just watch classics. Like we didn't even use the classics. We said let's only watch masterpieces. Let's
Hmm.
only watch the films that like everyone thinks is a masterpiece.
Fucking
Fuck
yes.
the rest of it. So,
The wording of that, we chose to only watch masterpieces.
yeah.
Iconic.
Singing in the Rain, 1952. I've watched it. An American in Paris, made the year before. We've watched it. Like, films where people tap dance, I will watch.
When you said that you're in love with Gene Kelly, I went to Google him. I thought you meant the guy that played Willy Wonka in the original.
Oh, fuck off. That's Gene Wilder. No,
I
Gene
got it
Kelly.
confused.
I actually don't even love him to look at. It's only when he's moving. I think I
Really?
just fancy people who tap dance. I
Mm.
think it's like, and dress well. The clothes, the colors, the
His
fact
clothes
that
do
so
look
much
well
of
made.
the films are like really well painted sets. Like
Uh,
it's before CGI. It's like
the same way it would look on stage. Yeah.
it's so romantic.
Mm.
And I know I've only seen two of them so far, but in both An American in Paris and Singing in the Rain, it's like here's a story. We're gonna give you the first act. We're gonna give you the second act, and then we're not gonna give you a third act. We're just gonna give you like a kind of dream sequence dance number, and then at the very end, everything's fine, and there isn't really a third act because it's don't trust us. Everything's worked itself out. It is so surreal as a structure for a film. We went to see The Boy and the Heron yesterday in the cinema,
Oh yeah.
and like the fact that The Boy and the Heron, which is a Ghibli film, it sort of followed the same. Here's the first act, here's the second act. Now it's Fantasia. It was like, this is all I want to see now. Masterpieces.
I don't know. I was thinking about this going into like the new year and thinking about what I wanted to write about, like what I wanted to try and reverse engineer in terms of my reviews. Like I wanted to write a review about how I was so blown away by like the sheer scale and spectacle of something like mind-blowing, mind-boggling. I'm gonna sound like Henry VIII, like some impetuous Renaissance king, because I think I just want to experience that Fantasia. Act 3 Fantasia, unhinged from any sense of reality and plot. I just want to only masterpieces.
You're gonna get into musicals as well. It's gonna be so good.
There's something psychologically holding me back from like being all the way in that, and I think it's just the sentence I've got into musicals recently. Like
yeah, but it's not
no
the bad
judgment
ones, though. It's not
no
like
shaming.
theatre kid musicals. It's like your nan musicals. Oh my god, it's so much better. We're going. I really feel like we've regressed generationally in this podcast.
Do we sound 70 years old because we've said like
kind of do. Yeah.
Clothes are not as well made as they used to be. All these kids and their apps and their scrolling.
And I'm in love with Gene
You're
Kelly.
in love with Gene Kelly. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. Like, we really are. We're going to be, I will say this again, we're going to be 30 this year. We've got no brain plasticity left.
It's gone. And your lungs are fully developed. And
exactly.
Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next week with our first text of the year. And that's it. That's it.
Watch
You've
out
got
for
no obligation to do absolutely fucking anything after the end of this podcast.
No, I actually would like to hear other people's ins and outs, because
fair enough, yeah.
I'm just nosy. I would like to hear yours, dear listener, watcher, viewer, reader. Please let me know yours, but address it only to me, not to Gabrielle.
Okay, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
White